What is up, everybody? My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a podcast with Aaron's Lean Mean Academy. Aaron is a six-figure pressure washing business owner who does it part-time, and in this video, he's going to give a lot of great insights into the pressure washing business. I really got a lot of value out of this, so I know that you guys, especially the ones who want to start a pressure washing business, are going to get a ton of value. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Make sure you check out Aaron's channel. I will leave a link for it down in the description. Without further ado, let's get right into this one. All right, what is up, Aaron? How you doing today, bro?
What's up, dude?
You want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast today. I'm really I've been watching your channel for a while, so
Everybody was excited about it, man. I gave you a shout out in the last pressure washing job recap, and everybody was super excited. I got a couple questions. So first, we're gonna run through all my questions that I have for you and your business, and then afterwards, we're gonna do kind of like a quick Q&A from the people who watched that video. Left a few questions for you.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So first of all, start us off with a little background on how you got into the pressure washing business, and then kind of like an idea of where your business is at today.
Cool. Yeah. So starting a pressure washing business was a complete accident. It was not something that was planned. It was basically by necessity. I was a touring musician for 8 years in Nashville, and I've opened for people, pretty much a lot of my heroes. I played on the same stage with
a country singer, right?
Yeah. So I was real close to doing a deal with Sony Records, and I got hit with a divorce. So, as an artist, everybody back home thinks you're famous, but you're not. And everybody thinks you got a little money and you don't. And so I literally had about $500 in my bank account, and I needed rent, and it was a tough time. So I started sleeping in my van for like a week and a half at the gym, because the gym where I was at was like a 24-hour gym, and you could go in there and basically shower anytime whenever the owner wasn't there. So I slept in there for about a week and a half, and I had a lot of introspection going on, but I saw a guy at like 6 a.m. in that plaza. He was cleaning the windows, and I like woke up, and I like saw this dude out his window, and I was like, well, I'm broke as shit, and I could do that. So I went to Lowe's, and I got a little squeegee, and I started just knocking, man. I literally went down 8th Avenue.
Started knocking on doors, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I saw him cleaning plaza, like storefront.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess that's where the money is.
Right.
Little did I know. There's pennies in that, unless you have a lot of them.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I just went around, and I knocked on this little coffee shop that I was hanging out at every single day, and they were my first client. So I did their windows for like $25, and then it started branching out into pressure washing. So I started renting my washer first. I rented it from like Home Depot. I probably rented like 10 times till I got my first one.
Oh man. Okay. And then how were you going about getting the pressure washing jobs? Were you knocking on doors as well?
Yeah. So I would try to upsell everyone everything.
Okay.
That's kind of when you're desperate, you just act like you're not desperate, and then you just try to upsell stuff.
Okay. You gotta fake it till you make it.
That's it. That's what you do. So yeah, I was just getting the jobs, and I started off with like Facebook groups, and the same thing a lot of guys start with, I guess.
Right.
And I got me a little website. I didn't know anything about web building at that time, and I got a little Wix site or whatever, and I had that Wix site for about a year. Found out that Google hates Wix about a year later, so I had to switch around. But that's how I was getting my jobs early on, just knocking.
How long did it take you just pressure washing until like did you like were you like I know everybody starts off pressure washing, but then did you get into soft washing, and like what was the learning curve there, and how did you kind of like adapt? Because I know a lot of people ask me a ton of questions
Sure.
along those lines.
So as far as like the soft washing thing, so soft washing is unique in that there's equipment that's obviously built for soft washing with proportioning equipment, but a lot of guys don't know that you can soft wash with a pressure washer. It just is relying on the tips that you have. Soft is just like low pressure, right? So I was doing, I was selling it however I had to sell it to
Of
get the
course.
job.
Of
You
course.
know, if I sensed that this housewife would care about low pressure, it was
Yeah.
a pitch. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it was whatever I had to do early on. But, you know, after that, a lot of people appreciate the whole soft washing aspect. So if you can sell the low pressure idea on the side of their house, you know, I suggest pitch it. You know, you're not
Absolutely.
gonna be able to do that on some brick unless you're using like super high concentrations of chemicals.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
you even still have to use some pressure washing stuff. But
Of course.
so soft washing is an interesting, it's an interesting angle. It's basically what soft washing is.
Right. So tell me about where are we at now? Where's the business at now? I know your
Cool.
motto
So
is one guy, one truck, right?
yeah, so with the Lean and Mean Academy, the YouTube channel, whatever, it's basically one truck, big profit. That was my thing when I first started out. I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna dive off into like a life change here, which, you know, you got to think I was doing music straight for like 8 years. I had an agent. I had everything to do music, and my life was music. If I'm gonna make a life change and jump into this world, I'm gonna be the most expensive guy in my town. That's going to be my thing. And if people don't buy it, then we got to figure out a better pitch, or we got to figure out a better audience.
Okay.
That was just it for me. So,
And this was your perspective from the jump. From jump, you're like, or did you kind of evolve this perspective?
no, I'd done like lawn care before I moved to Nashville.
Okay.
Before I was doing music, and I had my share of the client that doesn't like to pay, you know, the
course.
cheap client.
Mm.
And so I had been burned. My dad owns an auto shop still for 35 years, and he talks about problem type customers, and usually it always revolved around the cheap customer, the person who doesn't want to come off the money to have it done right. So I made a decision, you know, right off the bat that I was like, I'm going to figure out a way to be the most expensive.
Okay.
And then I basically did, you know, the old switcheroo that's like, if you can't change it, feature it.
Okay.
And so I couldn't change the fact that I was a one-man show.
Yeah.
So I just basically created a boutique pressure washing company and window cleaning company that, you know, charged double, but I was the only guy. I remember my pitch. My pitch was that I'm the only guy in your master bedroom.
Whoa. Okay. Was this specifically for women, or did you give men this pitch?
Well, depending on your angle there. When it came to, you know, that type of trust factor, that was my angle when I was pitching that, because I noticed that a lot of pressure washing companies and just naturally, like, that world is kind of full of, you know, the $15 an hour employee, which is
Absolutely.
fine. But I did know that a lot of high-end, high-ticket homes don't trust those people, you know, around their jewelry and around in their kids' bedrooms.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So that was the angle with that, is that they got me, which was to some people a liability, that I was the only one part of my business, but I was doing houses for $1,000 cleaning windows.
Wow.
And it would take all day for me to do that. But, you know, you got to think, like, if you got to find a way to angle your pitch
Right.
in a way that you can kind of penetrate the market. So that's what I did.
And this was in the beginning. So, okay, that's awesome. So what advice would you give for people who want to get into the pressure washing business? Because a lot of people who come to my channel are looking for advice on how, like, they might be working a job now. They might, you know, whatever they're doing, they want to get out of it. And they think that the pressure washing business is a good place to go. So what advice would you give for them to kind of transition there?
Well, you can definitely transition, like, smoothly. You don't have to really own equipment, because you can rent it like I did at Home Depot. Now their downstream injectors don't work. So you're not going to be sucking any bleach.
No.
I think I took back 3 pressure washers to Home Depot one time. None of the downstreamers worked. Man. They were all like solidified.
Well,
So anybody that wants to get started, I would say just, like, first off, get the job, like, sell the job, and then go get the equipment.
yeah, just kind of how you did it.
Yeah, just like sell a $2,000 church cleaning or something, and then go buy a piece of equipment the
So I
day
guess
after you get paid.
what you're saying is what the shift in your mind is that a lot of the people that you saw in the pressure washing industry were the $15 an hour guys who were kind of getting pushed around a little bit. And so you figured you would come from the angle of being more trustworthy to the higher end consumer. That's how you kind of angled the pitch?
Absolutely. So I was shooting straight for like upper middle class, upper class, and affluent.
Because that's where the money's at. I mean, let's be honest.
They just had disposable income, and frankly, pressure washing, window cleaning especially, is a luxury business.
Of course.
It's not something you have to have. You know what I'm saying? You probably been in some dorms in college, and the windows have never been cleaned. And you know what I mean? It's so you have to shoot for those type of people who have the money.
So what percentage of jobs should you be closing? And like, what is too high? What's too low?
Dude, I close like 50% now. So I've gotten up to 70%.
Okay.
And that was like, I'll start dialing back prices, and I'll start, when I want to stack jobs and I feel like there's going to be a lull coming up.
Right.
I'll start lowering the price just by cents on the square footage.
Okay.
Start massaging a little bit, and that percentage will go up. But my big thing is like, I kind of go a little deeper on not just closing high ticket jobs or working for, the high end people, but some high end people aren't fun to work for. So it does, there's a separation there too, that you need to kind of create a filter in your marketing. And is that me or you?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't have anything on my end.
What is happening? I don't know. I got like some phone ringing in my ear. I guess it's on here.
Technical difficulties.
Anyway, yeah, you just have to angle your pitch that way. I think that if you can figure out how to dial in your positioning, you can sell those type of jobs. I mean, I remember, dude, I had a Suburban. It was like an 02 Suburban with 250,000 miles.
Yeah.
And this was in like 2017, and I had a 32-foot ladder stuffed all the way in the back up to the dash, hanging out the hatchback.
That's what you got to do. You throw a little flag or something hanging off the back of the ladder, huh?
Little rag over there,
I know, man. Just praying nobody gets too close. Yeah, I've had a couple of those before.
But I just believe that guys in this industry, we could definitely close jobs higher price. I mean, I think that was like a $650 exterior window cleaning for that day.
Right.
For one dude, you know what I mean? And like for a guy, I think that that's like good money for like the average man.
Right.
Like if you can do that every day, well, if you could do that to, $1,500 a day, like that can take a lot of guys out of whatever job they're in now.
I mean, dude, name a job that makes $1,500 a day. I mean, let's be honest. So I think that the key for people is, the takeaway is to really find that middle ground between charging too much, charging too little, and kind of figuring out a ratio that's right for them and adjusting the ratio according to what the job they have incoming would be. Okay, awesome. So what services do you currently offer? And then which ones do you do the most of? So I think you said you did window cleaning and pressure washing still, right?
We do still, yeah. So I really try to focus on roof cleaning and pressure washing. If I can angle the jobs that way, even if they call for something else, I'm trying to like get around into that somehow,
right.
with upsells or whatever. If they're calling just for window cleaning,
you usually get called out specifically for window cleaning, and then you try to upsell the pressure washing side?
I will still sometimes, because remember, I started just as a window cleaner.
Okay.
So, my website is that URL is just about windows.
Okay.
So I still stick in that ranking for window cleaning.
Right.
And I have a lot of reviews that are keyworded for window cleaning too.
Okay.
Early on reviews. So I still get a lot of those calls. Not that I want them. I don't want window cleaning calls.
Why not?
It's just window cleaning is so much more tedious.
Okay.
Like there's just a lot that can
go wrong.
Not go wrong, like more along the lines of like you can just see
every imperfection.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And when it comes to pressure washing, it's almost to the point where you can just put a guy on it and he can work all day and it will look excellent. It'll look as good as if you did it, right? It's more equipment driven than technique driven.
Okay. And we're going to get into that, like finding the right people. Okay. So we like to do more pressure washing than window cleaning. You said you still do window cleaning though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one can you make more money on?
Pressure washing.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But think about it. Like, I pair a lot of them up, and a lot of times I get the job because I do both.
Okay.
Like, they're wanting to do a one-stop shop.
Right.
So they'll say, hey, I want my house clean and I want the windows done. And we have a water-fed pole system that allows, my guy, he can do entire commercial buildings, 3 and 4 story buildings from the ground.
Wow.
So it's, think about it. You just put a guy on it, you drop him off with the water-fed pole system, and he could work all day. And it's like, they're happy. It looks excellent.
Right.
It's at least $1,000, and it's not like super technique driven.
How did you learn all the window cleaning stuff and the pressure washing stuff? Because you said you came from a squeegee. I mean, like, did you learn it on YouTube? Did you learn it through the Facebook groups?
I learned a lot
trial
through
and
that.
error.
Yeah. Both. I knew that I was talking to my dad about it when I was cleaning, and I started kind of dipping into pressure washing while I was still doing squeegee window cleaning. Little cheap squeegees or whatever that I had. And he was like, you ought to get you one of them water-fed pole systems, because it looks all elaborate and shit.
Yeah.
You can do stuff from the ground, which is a great thing because I get tired. I was toting these 32-foot ladders like through the woods, and they're heavy, and I was alone. So what if you fall off a ladder? Like, that was the big thought.
Absolutely.
I was like, I don't want to fall off a ladder in the woods by myself and no one can hear me. So after I figured out that you can make a lot more money.
In the woods, man.
Yeah, it was like these unique houses that would have these one side that was real wooded, and I'm out in the ladder through the trees,
That's
trying
Tennessee,
to stand it up, getting some deltoids over here.
Get that good burn on. Okay, well, take us through your setup, through your current setup. So I guess for pressure washing specifically.
So yeah, I have one trailer. I call it Mad Max. It looks like Mad Max. It looks like one of those cars out of Mad Max or something. It's not the prettiest rig, but it gets the job done. I have 2 8-gallon-a-minute machines on there.
Right.
A hot water machine and another cold 8-gallon. And then I also have a soft washer 12-volt with a 45-gallon bleach tank hooked to the soft washer. And then I have another 35-gallon bleach tank that's just chilling. So I think that having it all in one, is the smart way to go, just because if I need to do anything, I have it all there. And the whole like lean and mean philosophy is to not have another truck across town with the roof cleaning rig where, that would be your soft washer, to where you can, spray a hot mix on something. Say a client wants to see what roof cleaning will do. Well, in the PDF that I give away on my little YouTube channel,
y'all make sure y'all check that out. Link to the channel below.
We talk about blowing the symmetry, and this is a technique that sells me tons of jobs. All right,
Okay.
Sells me a lot of jobs. It's called blowing the symmetry. I started it when I was window cleaning, and what I would do is I would go into the customer's house and I would say, okay, John, where would you say that you guys eat breakfast in the morning? And he was like, well, that'd probably be the breakfast nook over here. Oh, okay. I'm the cool. All right, cool. So I would go over there and I would literally pick out a window. And this is like when I'm giving the estimate before I even talk about numbers. I go in there with my little belt and I clean. I'm talking about with like brass, like steel wool and everything. I clean this one window just unbelievably well.
It's immaculate, huh?
It looks like a new window inside and out. I clean up top and bottom, and he's got these dirty windows next to it, right? And then I would end it. I'd walk around the house. I'd let them talk a little bit, him and his wife, and then I walk around the house and I'd come back with a price. I usually already knew my price at that point, and 80% of the time I get the job.
Man.
And they would quote it like, you got the job because you showed us your work.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I call that blowing the symmetry, because the human brain really wants symmetry. Like, we almost don't mind if things are dirty as long as everything's dirty.
Right.
But if you clean one thing and it sticks out and it reveals to you how dirty you are, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Right? You have to live with yourself.
Right.
And
They can't leave that one window clean. Like, you have to clean all the windows now.
it makes people make a move fast.
Wow.
So I do that when it comes to roof cleaning. We'll clean like
Clean
a little,
portion of the roof.
just a little slot, like a 3 or 4 foot slot in
Yeah,
the front, and I'll make sure that they give me clearance,
of course.
to test the spot. And it'll be, uniform. I'm not just spraying stuff up there crazy, but I'll take, just a little bit of solution. I'll spray it up there, and it'll reveal this giant spot of what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
You'll close, if you follow up, you'll probably close 80% of those jobs.
Wow.
So,
That's a huge tip then. People
I
really
got
need
that from the guy that used to come to our house. There's this, he might be on YouTube. There was this guy who used to sell this window cleaning stuff. He would go door to door. He's like,
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking
Yep,
about. The guy who
and
said fried chicken and stuff, and
yeah.
squirt it on his tongue and stuff.
But yep. So what he would do is he would like show you what he was doing,
Right.
but he would also clean something as well.
Right.
And that alone is a very, very, it's a huge psychological trigger for people. So people who are just getting started, like if you're like me and you just were eating beans, like go just start cleaning one window out of every place.
Yeah. Okay. Now, windows at like my parents' house, some of them have like oxidation on the inside of them. You can't clean that, can you?
You just have to have a chemical. Say what?
Is it from the seal? Is it because it's not sealed correctly?
Is it on the inside?
Yeah, it seems like it's on the inside of it.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to fix that. That's like
Yeah.
that's like a handyman thing. I think a lot of guys in our industry try to start being handymen.
Right.
You gotta watch that, dude. You gotta like stay away
Why do you say
because
that?
there's no money in being a handyman. That's
Mhm.
the reason he's called a handyman. Is because he doesn't specialize. You see,
Okay.
that's what that is. It's the guy who's a jack of all trade, master of none, and you need to be a master of window cleaning and a master of pressure washing.
Right.
And even then, I think you should dial it back as far as like, I don't clean lanterns. I used to clean lanterns, but I don't anymore. And because they're all different, they're all in different spaces that are usually elevated pretty high.
Okay.
And I just found it difficult for me to keep that on the website, tell people I did it, and then turn down people when I got to their house, hey, can you clean this lantern that's 27 foot up, and it's in this weird spot. And I'm just like, there's no real, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not, I don't feel like doing it anymore. I would have early on though, but reduce the amount of things that you do creates more value, creates more scarcity for the client. And they definitely want to buy your services more when you'll just tell them no.
So specialize as opposed to being somebody who does it all. And I think that's something for like the younger guys or the guys who initially get into it. It's kind of like they kind of fall into that. Okay, let me fix whatever needs to be done. Because I know I've done it before too. Like somebody who asked me to do just extra things, and I'm like, I don't typically do this, but you kind of make an exception because you want to be a nice guy, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll take care of it. So, okay, that's a good point. So for any of the younger guys, all right. So how many people do you have on your team? I think you said you got one guy working for you, and then any advice on finding good, reliable people?
Yeah. I have one guy working for me right now. And, okay. So I learned almost the hard way when it comes to don't hire your friends.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you own the business.
Okay.
Because my best friend, he's still my best friend, but it's like we went through a portion of time where it was really, really taxing on our relationship. It's just, if you own the business and it's not a partnership,
right,
it's going to be hard to like crack the whip on your friend.
Of course.
So just be careful with that. Any idea on how to find like good people?
How many guys have you been through? Is this your first guy and your only guy?
I've had 2, and one was my best friend.
Okay.
This guy has been excellent. And how I found him on Indeed. And my big thing is kind of how I work with prospects too. I just make it hard. Like I make them jump through hoops, a lot of hoops.
Okay. Just to kind of test them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I like show up at this time. I literally posted the ad. This is a terrible job. It's hot. It's really hot. You don't want to do this job. Like, I think my ad was worded something like that in the copy.
Okay.
It was like, why would you even pick this job?
No one wants this job. Stay away.
And the dude showed up on time. And if you're going to hire somebody like a helper, then I recommend paying them like a show up pay to figure out like every day if they show up on time, they get a certain amount, like $10, right?
Okay.
Just for showing up on time. That's like free lunch.
Okay.
And for a lot of people, you'd be surprised how far that goes.
Wow.
Something that my brother and I implemented this past year, and it is, my guy is literally on time every single day.
Because he wants to show up time. Dude, that is genius, man. That's awesome.
It's like an extra $50 a week, but you got to think like it's basically like guaranteed money. He didn't have to do anything to get it.
Right.
He just had to show up on time. But
so you even had any problems with this guy?
None. Like the dude, he's just excellent. And he's a young guy, he's like 23. And so I found a good one.
And so you let him haul the trailer, or do you go with him to all the jobs? Like you trust him to work by himself?
Oh yeah. He started hauling the trailer about a month after I hired him. You know, he was driving it, but I was going everywhere with him and showing him everything and training him.
Right.
He started doing it by himself about a month and a half. And I would just send him on like vinyl house jobs, you know, like something that you just cannot mess up.
Of course.
Know? Yeah. Just use this one tip. Don't use anything else. Spray the bleach, you know.
Tip. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Don't use anything else. And he's been excellent. So yeah, just throw away your red tips, man.
No red tips.
No red tips. Throw them in the woods.
Okay. Yeah. In the woods. Okay. Sweet. So it only took you 1 month to train him before he knew how to do everything, and you trusted him to go on jobs by himself and stuff?
A lot of the roof cleaning stuff I'll still take care of, like being on the roof, you know, just because a lot of roof cleaning jobs are so profitable that, you know, you can be in and out in an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
And you can make serious money for our industry. So he just waters the plants while I'm up there. So
I remember you said, I watched a video, like I think I watched one yesterday, and I remember that being in there, and you had the band there too. What role does the band play? The one that you got wrapped?
Not as much as people think.
No, like, is it just for quoting?
That's an urban myth. Anybody selling you a wrap is going to tell you that, though. I feel it. I get it.
Wait, what? I'm not understanding. So the van, you don't use the van for anything?
Oh, I use the van. I do all my estimates in the van.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
but
just
I don't know that
professional?
wrap is closing deals for me, right? Like I haven't gotten a ton of calls from the wrap. I've probably gotten 5 total.
Okay. But I mean, it's very professional when you pull up, and it's not like you're pulling up in the Suburban, like you said, you know.
But you know what's crazy, dude? I close tons of jobs in that damn Suburban.
Really?
Like it's just like we got to reduce the excuses, you know. It's like like a lot of times, man, and a lot of guys probably wouldn't agree with this, but like if it's like a Saturday, like I'm not putting on my company shirt. Like I'm going in my
casual Saturday, like
my black shirt, and I'm gonna go price out your house, and because that's how I run my business, and you run your business however you want to run it.
Of course.
But so a lot of people get that in their head that they have to have this, or they're not going to be able to get this. Like I can't get, you know, $1,500 for a house cleaning if I'm using a 4-gallon a minute rental.
Right.
And that's just not true, man. You can. And here's the truth. People like this, people who you charge the most are the best people to work for.
Really?
They're easy to work for, man. They pay on time. They pay immediately.
Yeah.
They love what you do, and they call you back. The people you'll notice that are problems are the people who are cheap.
Cheapskates, yeah.
They don't pay for like 2 weeks, and you're having to call them, you know, if you're invoicing or whatever.
Right.
And they're not loyal. They're price shoppers.
Right.
But once people understand that their value is in the fact that they show up on time, they actually call people back,
Right.
right? Like that's huge.
That's a huge part of it. Absolutely. Because people they'll compliment me and they say, I don't even get a call back sometimes, you know?
And you're like, how is this industry? How are these guys handing this to me on a silver platter? Like,
Absolutely.
you know, because you got to call everybody back. I mean, that's like a normal thing for you as a business guy because you're professional, but
Right.
a lot of people that's not. And so I think that you should charge as much as you can get for the job.
Absolutely.
And you should also deliver that, though. You have to be willing. Like I factor in that to a lot of my channel videos that you're going to come back tomorrow if there's a problem. You know what I mean? Like that's not a question. Like you're going to do an excellent job.
Right.
You're going to come back if there's a problem. You're going to like be cordial with the client. You're going to treat their stuff like it's your stuff. Like, but just you doing all of those things separates you miles from 90% of our industry.
Absolutely.
Okay. And even that's some bigger companies, right? Because they have a lot of people working for them, right? They got nice shirts on, but they might not be that professional.
Oh, absolutely. So we do 3 things pressure washing, right? You do concrete, houses, and roofs.
Correct.
And how do people know about? So like, I've been pressure washing for a long time. I've never done any roofs, but no one's ever asked me if I do roof cleaning. So do you have to like inform your customers about roof cleaning, or do you upsell it?
Dude, if I was a guy like you, now look, I rank for roof cleaning, so it's a newer type service. It's much newer than pressure washing, right? Just the awareness that a customer would have to get the black streaks off of their roof.
Right.
It's not as prevalent in the search, but it is coming on. So if I'm a guy like you and I'm cleaning houses and I see black streaks, I'm talking about it.
Okay.
Because that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
That if you don't even mention it and somebody makes them aware, like they're just going to Google roof cleaning and you're not going to get the money. So I would figure out a way to blow that symmetry, dude.
No, absolutely.
I'm going to show you how to start.
Let me clean half the roof. I'll show you what it looks like.
I'm telling you, man, guys are even getting started with like a damn garden sprayer, dude. Like, I don't care.
Dude,
you know
I have this guy on Instagram. He started following me like back whenever I was first posting these pressure washing recap videos. He quit his job. He got into it. All he's got is a Lowe's hose sprayer. One of those where you put the chemical in the bottom of it and it siphons it through like at 1 to 10 or whatever. And dude, he does crazy jobs. Dude's doing like huge vinyl houses with just this little $30 gun. And I'm like, dude, it is what you make of it, I guess. I don't know.
It is. Like you kind of hold yourself back by thinking that your equipment means how professional you are. And there is certain stuff that like certain equipment can't do. Right. I'll have customers call me and they're like, hey, can you clean my entire house? And I can see that they've tried to do it. And I can see their little washer over there, behind
the little Joe Max.
Oh, yeah. And, it was a valiant attempt.
Yeah. They had no idea how long it would take. They tried to do it like on a Saturday or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a difference in some equipment, and there's a huge difference in speed. So if a guy with a 4-gallon is cleaning a driveway, it may take him like all day long. Yeah. Whereas a guy with an 8-gallon can be done in 2 hours.
Okay.
It's not double. It's like triple. Like that's the speed. I know from 4 to 8, a lot of people are like, oh, that's just double. It's like, no. The speed of an 8-gallon or a 10-gallon a minute is more like a triple speed. I don't know why it's exponentiated, but it is that much different.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. So how did you market your business in the beginning, and how has that evolved to now? You referenced you got into Google Ads, I think in the beginning, and you said you dabbled in the Facebook groups.
Yeah. So early on, man, you have to just find a way to get directly in front of buyers, right? Like, because you're not going to be able to compete early on SEO with guys who are been in business for 5-10 years.
Right.
Now, you can compete if there's not many people and if you know SEO, which is what my 2017 late nights was involved with. That's like all I wanted to figure out. I never felt like I was a tech guy at all.
It's like cracking a code almost. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It is. And once you kind of figure it out, you know how to get traffic to almost anything. But But, you know, guys who are getting started, I think you should just post in the groups and figure out a way to make yourself stick out. I call it black sheeping, or Kevin Dabrowski has a book called Whale Vomit, the Whale Vomit Method. And it's basically a way to how you can make yourself stick out like a sore thumb to the market and not be like the guy. Just don't be the guy advertising like, hey, I do houses for $200.
Oh man.
You just fall into this like this matrix, this wall of people who's like, okay, that's the cheap guy. He's obviously advertising the group. Yeah. And people know. They can sense it. But guys get stuck in that thing, that little vortex of pricing. And then as soon as one hose blows, man, they're out of business.
Yeah. No, I mean, one time my dad sent me this picture. One dude was like, I'll paint your whole house for like $250. And then he was just getting trashed in the comment section. And it's like, dude, I mean, it gets ridiculous, the prices that people will quote. And I think, like you said, being higher price is the equivalent of being higher quality almost. Can you do me a favor, Aaron? Can you turn the light on in your you have a light in there?
You don't like this mysterious?
You're just looking like a silhouette.
Let's figure this out. Here we go.
There you go. Yeah, just crack on the light for me. Yeah, now you're looking good.
All right, now we're back.
It was just like a floating head a little bit. I was like, the people at home. I'm just kidding. All right, man. So next question. So do you think pressure washing is oversaturated? I get this question a lot. So
I think the guy who's doing the $200 job is oversaturated.
Right.
That's what I think. I think that the market potential for the guy doing high ticket jobs is the sky's the limit, man. Once you figure out how to sell it, right? Like once you figure that out, like I've gotten to a point now that I have guys negotiating more money. Like I had a guy this past month. We did this like building, it was a commercial building, and it was a truck dock. You may have seen the video. I don't know. It was this truck dock and we were cleaning it. And
graffiti. I think I saw one with graffiti. It might have been
that was like a little job, dude. That took us like 15 minutes. It was like $450 for that job.
That's wild, man.
Right? Minus like
do that.
The chemical, I probably had about $5 or $6, $7 in chemical just because I could use a whole lot.
Right.
But that's the kind of, you can charge those prices and people will pay. But no, we did this. It was a truck dock, and it was a day. It was a day, I think a full day, and probably made $4,600 on it.
Wow.
In a day. And yeah, you're not going to do that with like a 4-gallon. It's not going to happen just because this truck dock was at least 3 stories tall. It was a lot of concrete.
Right.
It was a lot. All right. But if you know what your equipment's capable of and you have a relationship with them and they're stoked, they hire us for all their other projects, right? A lot of people feel like you're like gouging someone. And that's the difference. The difference is if the client is stoked and they hire you again,
right,
then you were just fooling yourself the whole time, thinking you should charge less. You know, you were playing yourself. So that's my big thing when it comes to guys. They should figure out a way to get high ticket for their market.
Okay.
It may look different in Mobile, Alabama than it does in Nashville or even Manhattan. But then again, the living cost in certain areas is less too. You know,
it's all comparable.
Absolutely.
So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but and how do you differentiate yourself from the competition? I mean, you spoke on like just doing a good job, showing up on time. But is there anything else that really differentiates you from somebody else who kind of charges in that same range as you?
Well, you need to have as many reviews as you can possibly get.
Okay? I agree with that. Absolutely.
That's going to get you kind of in that realm of just consideration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even I'm saying that, but even in the beginning, I didn't. So I was still selling, but that's going to make it easier. I think the positioning always has to be that I want to help, but I may not do the job.
Okay. So be able to walk away more so than
I always maintain that. And there's an air about that the whole time.
Absolutely.
And we
Even in relationships, it's the same. It's the same
Absolutely.
dynamic in relationships.
Okay, so there, I wanted you to go there, not me.
No, I did it. The person who is more willing to walk away, or more, easily, readily available to walk away, oftentimes has the better hand in the relationship.
Hold the power.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And in
So
negotiation,
how can you maintain that, right? In your tonality,
right,
and in your
demeanor,
interactions, absolutely, with the
Yeah.
prospects from onboarding. I mean, even like on my website, I had it there for a long time. I don't know why I took it down. I didn't take it down on purpose. I think we did like a web change or something, and it got removed, which I wasn't happy. But it said on there, it was like, this is a luxury service, and it is not for everyone.
Wow, there you go.
On my homepage.
Okay.
But that, like, when you can set up the idea that you may not do the job, okay, it's a different tone from a prospect than people believing that you're eating beans living under the bridge.
Right.
Because if people think that about you, look, I'm not saying everyone's like this, but more people than you would like to think are like this. And they should be, right? If you don't have the for lack of a better word, the balls to be something different,
right,
they're going to do it. They're going to take it. That's just business. They're going to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
But as soon as someone realizes that you are the expert and they're having to abdicate authority to you,
right. That's like with mechanics. Like,
Absolutely.
If you bring your car somewhere, you don't know what you're doing, you're going to pay whatever they say you're going to pay because you don't know what to do. So I see what you're saying. So the way you differentiate yourself in the market is to give off the, you are a professional and you value yourself more so than you value doing business with them. If it comes to that.
All day long. I would rather not do the job. I would rather not have their money.
Right.
Than work for problem customers or do jobs that like don't profit.
Right.
Like that's the end. You know what I mean? And that's part of remaining autonomous. If you're going to be autonomous in your business, basically go where you want to go, work for who you want to work for, do it how you want to do it, regardless of what I say, regardless of what the industry says, regardless of whatever you do it how you are going to do it. Be integral. That's about all I can say, and pay your taxes. But or they will come for you.
Of course.
But like, do it how you're going to do it and just be unapologetic. I think my big thing about that was that, like, I had a lady ask me to, like I said, to clean lanterns. And I just told her, I was like, I don't clean lanterns. And we cleaned the window. They were spotless, man.
Right.
And I remember me 4 years ago, I would have done something different. You
would have tried to satisfy her more so than.
And here's the thing, like, she's a sweet lady, but she tried, I could see in her tone that she was trying to figure out a way to get me to clean those lanterns. And
it wasn't happening.
I just don't clean lanterns. And
Yeah.
I said, like, oh, I really wish you could have cleaned these lanterns. And I'm like, well, I cleaned your windows, and that's on my website. Lantern cleaning is not on my website. And it was not even on the estimate, something that you wanted to throw in after the deal.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, you have to be unapologetic about not doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, man, it becomes a slippery slope. You start doing it for one person, you start doing it for another person. And then you start having this narrative in your mind that you need to lower your price. You don't get three jobs, right? You go prospect it and you bid them out and you don't get three of them. You're like, man, I must be too high.
Right.
You start bumping your price down. You start trying to figure out, and it's not even that. It's not that. It's just how the ebbs and flows go. You got to stay strong in your pricing, stay strong in your posture, stay strong in your positioning.
Right.
Know that you're going to do an excellent job and you have an excellent guarantee. And you honestly can't lose.
Right. And I think that might come with time for some people, especially for the newer guys. But, having that kind of confidence in your business and being able to stand on that ground, that's ultimately where you want to end up at. So do you do more residential jobs or commercial jobs?
Early on, it was pretty much strictly residential. I did like commercial window cleaning. I tried to do some storefront stuff, but it was just hard to drive around town for $35, for one window cleaning.
Right.
but I do pretty much, I'd say 80% residential and 20% commercial at this point.
Right.
Commercial is usually lowest common bidder. That's the denominator. I mean, lowest bidder. That's
That's
usually
very true.
they're just checking a box, man.
Right.
Like there's somebody who got a call from somebody who said this needs to be done.
Right.
They have to get 3 bids. So you're one of those. Or they may already have a guy who they want to give it to, but
Right.
they have to keep him honest and get 3 bids. So for
Okay.
me, I have a long conversation with them on budgets. I figure out what the budget is.
So we
Is there-
starting off as like the opening question, like, okay, what are we working with?
Yeah. You know, it's like, Justin, cool. Yeah, you need these dumpster pads cleaned. How many dumpster pads do you have?
Right. I got 3.
Okay, so you got 3. Cool, man. Well, when's the last time you had them done?
A year and a half ago.
Year and a half. Good Lord, are you getting ticketed or what's the situation?
I gotta tell you, they're coming after me, so I need somebody. I need somebody ASAP.
So let me ask you a question. When do you need them done?
As soon as possible.
Okay. What do they look like? Are they all pretty much the same? I'm asking you this because I know you're a restaurant.
Yeah.
Is there trash all over the place when I get there?
No, dude, I don't know. I don't know anything about
You see what I'm saying? But I'm eliciting his values, and I'm trying to figure out where they are here.
So we're almost trying to see what his hand is before you play yours, right?
Yeah, because I'm not going to just drive out there and price out 3 dumpster pads because he wants to throw me in a stack of bids that I never get.
Wow. Okay.
Like-
So how are we qualifying him? When do we say like this isn't a prospective buyer? When do we say like, okay, you know what? No, thank you.
Well, you'll hear it in there. A lot of it is tone, and a lot of it's in like what's called trigger words. So I have a book that's going to be releasing probably early 2020, right around in there.
Plug the book, baby.
Yeah. It's called the Part-Time 6-Figure Pressure Washer.
Wow.
And it's going to talk about prospect trigger words
Okay.
and what they say. You know, you need to watch out for prospects who are saying, well, you know, we did it last year and we just felt like, or my cousin has a washer.
Oh yeah. Okay. The cousin. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Or my brother. You feel me?
Yeah. I was gonna get my son to come out and do it.
But he's not in town.
Yeah. Or he's a lazy ass.
Right. So I wanted to get, you know, just some pricing.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's awesome, man. That kind of gives you guys some good insight to how valuable that book is going to be, obviously.
So, you know, the big thing is like qualifying them, keeping them, like the longer you can keep a prospect on the phone,
Right.
the more serious they are.
Okay. So do you
I just,
usually start all of your quotes on the phone, or do you do
if
your
it's
quotes
too
over
far, I'll just price it like over the phone. I'll
the phone?
Google
Send
it.
you some pictures or something?
Yeah, sometimes that gets, you know, haywire because people aren't at their house when they call me, you know, so they
Yeah. Or they don't know how to take pictures. Have you ever got some wonky pictures, man?
I've taken my chances when it comes to certain, like if it's 30 minutes away
Mhm.
and it's not $1 million home, I'm not driving.
Okay.
So if it's $1 million home, I'll drive out there because I'll get $5,000 worth of work over the course of a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what you kind of want to do. I think take your chances. If it's in town and it's close by, I personally think that in-person quotes are always the best.
Me too. Because you get
I
that
always try to be
more
there.
personable experience.
Oh, dude, you'll definitely sell jobs. They're just like, okay, I just like this guy.
Absolutely. Because people
Like,
ultimately, they buy from who they like. They don't buy for what you're selling. More so they buy in for who you are almost.
Absolutely. They totally get that.
Absolutely. So give us, so I have another question here. Give us the most difficult client you've ever had to deal with.
Oh, man.
Obviously, you do a great job of pre-qualifying them, so I'm sure you haven't dealt with anybody in a while. But is there anybody that's like stuck out to be like this was a terrible client to work for? Or any like horror stories, anything that went wrong? I don't know. Have you seen this guy in your recommendeds? It's like this guy, my pressure washing business horror story or something.
Who is this? Is this Keith?
I don't know him. I didn't watch the video, but it's popped up in my recommendeds like 30 times.
I think he's a real nice guy. I don't know him personally, but he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I've never
Sounds
watched it, so
It sounded like he was like dragging some hoses or something, and he just was like, I know he owns a landscaping company. If this is the same guy, he owns a landscape company, he owns a
I
window
think he was
cleaning
wearing a
company.
black hat or something. I don't know if you can remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, my horror story, it can be twofold as far as customers.
Mhm.
One was a customer who wouldn't pay. It was like $1,700 worth of work at their
Wow.
house,
Okay.
window cleaning and a house wash of it was like a $6,500 square foot house. And,
Mhm.
when somebody does that, you start like Googling them. It's like 3 weeks in, you're like, who is this person? So you
Right.
like Google them and you're like, oh, okay, so they're doctors. They both have the money,
Mhm.
So eventually I just had to get my attorney to send them a letter.
And they
And,
paid up.
oh, quick. It was quick, son.
Okay.
I rarely ever have people not pay. I think I probably had, I don't know, they're definitely the only person I've ever had to like go to that length for.
Right. And
As far
I've
as
had
like,
comments, but people asking me how do people usually pay, and I think that's one of the things people are worried about is ultimately like the customer not paying for some reason.
so if you're going to start like a legit business, right, and you're wanting to, there's two ways to do pressure washing, right? There's a way that everyone kind of starts, which is like a hobby on the weekend, and you can do that without a CRM, customer relationship management software or whatever. You can do that. You just, get calls, go do it,
Right.
get cash, right? And if you're going to do that as a hobby, why are you getting paid in checks? All right, get cash, do it that way because you're not trying to start a business. If you're wanting to start a business, you're going to get a customer relationship management software, which is going to handle a lot of the intake of your customers. It's also going to handle billing.
Okay.
So when you complete the job, there's usually an app on your phone that comes with the software, and you just click bill and invoice, whatever. And it has a square for Square Reader, the
Right.
swipe, and they can just enter their credit card info. They can pay right there. They can pay you with a check. Obviously, they can, give you cash if that's what you want to do.
Of course.
That's how I get them to pay. And yes, I do pre-qualify heavy, so I've had very, very few people. Some
That's
people just forget. They're like, oh man, I'm sorry, and they pay that immediately.
yeah. Well, that's awesome.
And give you like a $40 tip because they're sorry.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Is there any can you recommend software to anybody? What's the software that you use?
The current software that I use is called the Customer Factor. I'm still trying to figure out some talks with Steve with the Customer Factor because I don't like promoting his product unless he's going to pay me.
Come on, I'm the same way. I might have to take this out now.
That's right, baby. Like, come off of it, man.
Pay me, Steve.
That's right. Pay me, Steve. Stuff now. But yeah, it's good. It's basic. It's not like I know people. There's like Invoice Simple or something. That's an app that can.
Yeah.
Look, when you get into like a dedicated CRM, like it's going to handle customer intake. It's also going to handle like reminders, like a day before. It's going to send an automated email and say, "Hey, John, we're at your house tomorrow." Say you booked them 2 weeks out, right? And if you don't have that, dude, I remember when I didn't have that. People would be like, "Oh, I forgot." Like, yeah, we got somebody else to do it. You know what I mean?
That is wild.
Dude. And so, also have cancellation fees. That's something that you need.
How do you keep them in a contractual, in order to like validate the cancellation fee?
Well, validating it is like one of those things. Like, are you really going to go after it, right? Like, you're going to go after the cancellation fee,
You just send it to
whatever it is. If you're going to get a deposit, I build the shit out of it. I'm like, hell yeah.
Cancellation fee.
Pay me my money. And it's literally in the line, cancellation fee.
Wow.
$200.
When you send out your invoice, does it say, like, is there a little spot that says, like, there's a cancellation fee? Do they know?
Yeah. It's on the bottom of every single estimate.
See, that's super cool. I mean, I've never done that before. So.
When they click accept, I make sure that I put everything super detailed on these estimates.
Right.
You can get lazy quick, dude. You got to watch it because you got a lot of these things coming in. You're just like, whatever. You got 4 houses you saw that day. and you're just throwing shit together, and it can bite you, right? Because one customer's like, why aren't these black streaks coming off my gutters? And you're like, oh my gosh, I told everybody else about that, but that doesn't come off unless you do this other certain process. So
Right.
you just gotta make sure that you clear everything up with everyone. That's probably the downside of the business, is that there's just like, you just got to be very detailed when it comes to what you're doing.
Detail.
But you can't run into problems.
Yeah. So like I said, on the last pressure washing job recap video that I posted, I had a number of questions. So we're just going to kind of go through these if you're cool with that. And we'll see what everybody had to say. Is that cool?
Yeah, dude. Let's roll.
All right. I'm going to give him a shout out. So shout out to Total Outdoor. He says, question for you and Aaron. Do you clean concrete curbs when doing residential jobs? Why or why not? I clean curbs when doing residential jobs because it makes the house stick out more in the neighborhood because everyone else's is filthy.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I don't like make a point to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much about like, if it's free, I make sure they know that it's free.
Right.
I don't throw anything in and just like hope they notice and say, oh, look, like when they're eating dinner, look, they did that. You know, people don't like, that's like that old like grandma thought, you know, that they're like, oh, you came and weed eated their mailbox, and they're like, oh, they would notice. And like a lot of people just don't. They don't care. So you have to like notify them that you're doing curb cleaning is free.
Okay.
You know, which could be, you know,
that could be potentially
could get you the job. You know what I mean? Just make sure that whatever you do that's going to be free, you stick in there as free.
Yeah. And for me, I don't usually do curb cleaning unless somebody actually asks for it, unless it's a small curb. But some people, you do those, the houses that are like on the end, and like they got that whole roundabout curb. It's like, it's like huge. And I'm like, dude, you know what? If they don't say anything about it, I'm not doing it. Cause you know, a lot of people don't care. They don't care about the curb. They figure people are gonna be parking on it, whatever. Okay. So we'll get into the next one. So Ricky asked, if you had no money, how would you start pressure washing? And we kind of covered that in the beginning, kind of how you got into it. I don't know if you want to add anything to
so the model is be expensive, rent your equipment, okay, and you know, figure out how you can be the most expensive and offer the best value. Like, what else is there in life? Just, you know, like be the best, be the most expensive,
right,
and figure out a way to separate from the rest of the market. That's how, and then rent your shit until you can afford it.
Yeah, and do a good job, of course, and also have integrity, because I think that's important as well.
I did mention that, right?
You did. I was just covering it on the back end. Okay, cool. So the next question is from Nathaniel JL. He says, a good question for the podcast might be, when do you know to scale what you have? If you feel you have something good going, do you push to make it bigger and risk overdoing it, or riding the success you are currently doing?
Okay, so I went to a mastermind this past month, and all of the guys in this mastermind, man, all of them had like $3 million, $20 million businesses. And I'm like, bro, like, I know a lot about marketing and stuff like that, but I never want to even remotely be close, because 10 trucks sounds like 10 headaches to me.
Right.
Like just a bunch of knuckleheads, you know?
Right.
$15 an hour. Like, everything
could go wrong. Everything could come rumbling down.
Stuff blowing up. You got corrosive chemical we're spraying on, like, you know, whatever, pansies, killing plants.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. And so I like to kind of keep everything automated and work with specialists. But how do you scale? I would scale your marketing to a point where you're spending at least $1,000 a month on Google Ads.
Okay.
And, you know, get your SEO tight, get you a designated company who can build your website properly, and who's going to update it every weekly or daily if you want them to. That's when you'll have so many leads coming in that you just can't even, like, you can't get to them all.
Right.
And that to me is like heaven, because what the potential of one truck the potential of one truck is truly, and I know this because I have a friend who's in New Jersey and he cleans, and he has 2 trucks, and he makes $40,000 a month off of both one, well, each truck.
Right.
And I was
That's
like,
crazy.
okay, so that's obviously like the potential if this thing is working like crazy, right?
Right.
If this thing's working every day and you're maximizing it, you know, maximizing your opportunities,
Yeah.
this is what your potential is. So for what my channel's about, what, you know, kind of what your channel's about, like that's as far as I would want to go with this business, because you can kind of control it and you can work for who you like to work for. So scaling, like 10 trucks, that thing, not my thing. Scaling to a point where you only work for people who value your service, pay high ticket, and call you back is what I would scale to. So just get an influx of leads. That's the big thing. Scale your marketing to where you got so many leads that you're just like, all right, I'm not working for 5 of these. I'm going to work for the other 5.
Right. So once you kind of meet your potential, then, I mean, from my perspective, once I meet like my full potential in this business, like I'm not in the game to be like the biggest pressure washer that ever existed. It's more so like I want to venture off into other ventures. So kind of like building out to as big as you can be, getting a ton of leads, and then, but ultimately funneling some of that into some other ventures that can bring more passive revenue sources.
Absolutely. So the idea is, man, I have buddies and some of them are, you know, they're at like 800,000 right now in the year for their business. And they're taking home less than they were taking home when they were making 250,000.
Yeah.
And that to me was the kind of the inception of like the lean and mean thought, that they took a pay cut by growing. Now, after a while, like it's gonna tip. You know what I mean? After they get a certain number and they're able to scale, there is a moment where it tips. But dude, I've seen guys have sleepless nights, son.
It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
I'm like, bro,
I don't feel like it's worth it,
man. Like, I ain't trying to get like.
I mean,
so many headaches. And
I know there's so much more. There's other ways. There's other ways to make money. So I think that's a good answer. Scale to as big as, you know, you can handle, and then, you know, invest in other ventures, probably some passive ventures. That way you can just, you know, keep bringing in that money. Okay. So last question we have, why do you pick higher ticket jobs than a bunch of smaller jobs? So like, why would you pass up, you know, 5 smaller jobs and then pick up 1 bigger job? I guess what the guy's asking, because I mentioned that you do high ticket sales. Yeah,
I wouldn't. That's the big thing. I think the big thing is that you just need to have a minimum, right? So for instance, we had a house, literally a guy in the front of his house. He had these 2 areas in this new style of home. And in my city, they've got these soffits that have like the exposed 2x4s, right? The exposed trusses, right? They come down under the roof. It was like 2 areas, and it was $200. It took us 20 minutes to do it.
Right.
But the thing is like that would be considered like a small job. But if you have a minimum and you're able to get out there and you're able to, you know, make that like super profitable. Think about like how profitable that actually is. That might be more profitable than the $1,000 job.
Right.
Just based on time, right? Like it took us, we got out the truck, we spray it down, and we had 3 jobs just like that day. That took us, you know, not very long at all. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, a couple of different things. So
have a minimum.
Yeah, dude, take all the jobs, but like have a stopping point. You know what I mean?
Right. We don't go below this.
Be like, I will do your patio, but unfortunately, Janet, it's $200. I gotta have enough money to crank the truck up now.
I'll have to ask my husband. But
he normally does it.
He just hasn't had the time.
I'm glad we sorted this out over the phone. Call me if you want to do some business.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, man. Well, I'm not sure how much. I mean, I don't know if this software will limit how much time I can record this for. So we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Before we end it, you want to go ahead and just plug whatever you have to plug, or mention whatever you want to mention. Obviously, your YouTube channel will be in the description of this video. People can go check you out. But any last words?
Dude, I appreciate you having me on the channel, man. I've been watching you for a while, and I'm I was enamored just by how many things you got going on, dude. I see you in your truck, and then he's got like vending, and then he's got pressure washing, and then he's flipping a car. And I'm like, this dude is just like hustling. So I was like, it was all on brand. I thought it was really cool.
I appreciate
Thanks for
that.
having me on, man. I think just everybody who's in the pressure washing, community getting started, maybe they're, making $3K a month right now, maybe part-time, want to ramp it up to 10 to, $20K a month. Look out for the book coming out. It'll be on my channel, whatever. It'll be probably early 2020.
And yeah, we'll do this again and we'll plug it, you know what I mean? And we'll get everybody on it.
So, bro.
Absolutely.
We're going to do this on my channel here too.
I agree. Dude, I think we have a lot more we could go into on this. I mean, there's a lot of more topics. Also, do you want to plug the Facebook group? I know you got a Facebook group. I got a secret Facebook group. All right. So that group.
Okay. Well, it's secret in that, what's interesting is a lot of people I haven't even said this, that for the people who are a part of that group. So this is the first time I've mentioned this. So a lot of times on how I pre-qualify prospects is really heavy, and we've talked a lot about that. Like how long I keep them on the phone and the questions that I ask them are very intentional, and I'm trying to get certain things out of them based on their intent level to buy. That's just it. I just don't want to waste more of my time than sitting on my couch talking to them, right? If it's not going to go that much further.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to the group, right, I built this little group, and I was like, well, I'm going to make people, if they're going to be in the group, they have to answer 3 questions, right? Just a little group. You know how Facebook is. You got to answer questions in some of the groups.
Right.
And you would be amazed at how many people won't answer 3 questions. It says in the question, it says no answers, no entry. And you would be amazed.
They still try to click through?
But here's why I did this, is because I've seen a lot of our industry groups on Facebook or whatever, like there's like this air of like, woe is me, negativity, like super critical to the new guy. And, everybody like answers in memes. They don't answer questions. People
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like my group will never, ever go down this path. So I have to figure out a way to weed out that group. And you know what's funny, man, is that type of person will not answer those questions. And I'm not saying that everyone who doesn't answer the questions is that type of person, but we have the most positive group on Facebook. And it's interesting. I haven't had to do any housekeeping or policing, but from some of the pre-qualifications and the steps that these people have had to go through to get there, which is really just download my PDF on like my description. That's all I have to do. And then answer the friggin' 3 questions. But you'd be amazed at how many people that sorts out. So take that model and put it into your pressure washing business for your prospects.
Right. Find
a way to make them jump through hoops. Find a way to run off the people who are going to waste your time.
Right.
Like not in a mean way. I know I say it like Nick Saban.
No, absolutely. I do the same thing. Nick Saban. I do the same thing when selling cars. I mean, just the tire kickers, the people that just come around, they waste your time. They'll waste your time. Like that's it.
You'll drive across town and somebody's like, "Oh, I just want to see it."
Exactly. Yeah. So you kind of have to. You got to pre-qualify, man. And you've done a great job. And this whole interview has been awesome, man. I think I've learned a ton. I know everybody who watches is going to learn a ton as well. So I appreciate having you on, Aaron. And yeah, man, I guess we'll go and wrap it here.
Forever Self-Employed, son.
That's right. My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. And until next time, hustle hard and get that money, baby.
That money.
Peace.